Hi.
How are things?
Good. How are you?
I'm here.
I'm having fun. This weekend's been fun so far.
Oh, good. I'm so
Yeah,
glad you're having a good weekend. That's
I
great.
am.
Make the best, right?
Yep. I'm Suzanne,
And Sherry,
and we're here to waste your time with shared brain damage.
which you might like appreciate at this point. A little bit of time, a little bit of your time wasted.
Yeah. I don't know. Some things are starting to open, so it's been interesting going out and about.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
Do you want to start first today?
Sure. I'm gonna skip right over to our neighbors to the south. They are having an interesting issue in Florida, where a neighborhood has been taken over by loud, messy peacocks. So the story is from UPI or UPI. I'm not sure exactly how to say that. Anyway, and there is a video if we want to link this later. There's a video you can watch about people complaining about these peacocks. But residents of a Florida neighborhood are complaining about a loud and messy flock of peacocks that's taken up residence. And I'm not kidding. There's like 50 birds that have taken up residence in this like suburban neighborhood. And they spend all day mating and screaming and like landing on the roof and making a pile of noise. And one woman that they interviewed, they sent down a reporter, which I'm sure, I mean, given everything that's going on right now, she's probably like, oh, thank you. Yes, I would like to cover crazy flock of birds, please. This is somewhat different than our regular like fare. So let me just go do this. But the poor reporter standing there talking to this woman trying to take her seriously. And the lady's like, yeah, I left my door open for a minute and like 4 peacocks from my living room. She's like, they poop everywhere. It's a big mess.
Oh
But
no.
yeah, so it's in Hillsbury County, and officials say the peacocks aren't regulated as pets because no one has claimed ownership of them. There's 50 of them in the neighborhood, and they keep everyone up all night and increase the messes outside the house.
Quote
Messes.
unquote. Yes.
Right, yeah, messes. We just don't want to talk about the fact that it's literally a field of peacock poop everywhere.
So they
Um,
from a zoo or something, or are they
no,
just
they're native birds, like they are wild there, and I guess like a couple of mating pairs showed up and had babies, and then those babies returned to the same spot. It's like a mating behavior, right? So whenever they go
just
into heat,
accumulated over the years?
yeah. So then every year more birds show back up because that's where they were born and that's where they go to do their mating business and rear their young. Anyway, so the video is hilarious. Like it's a big mess. Like there are literally peacocks everywhere and they're like screaming at each other. They're fanning out their tails and making like that horrible rah noise at each other and stuff. Like I can't imagine. Like one woman was like, "I'm trying to sell my place," and it was like, "Oh man!" Like between the horrible problems that we're all having, like and like your entire neighborhood being overrun by giant birds. And they're not small, right? Peacocks are huge. These are
Huge.
like the size of turkeys. Like they're gigantic birds. I'm sure she's not going to have a whole bunch of luck selling her place in that
And
neighborhood.
their tails are even bigger. Like they're
Yeah.
massive.
Oh yeah. Like I can imagine you're like running late or whatever, and you like open your door to like get in your car, and then there's this enormous like giant turkey bird that's like mating with another one on the lawn. Like, yeah, I can see this being an issue. Really can. It's a stretch. Like I want to be understanding and sympathetic and be like, oh well, nature's taking, back what it originally had. But seriously, I don't think I'd be able to live comfortably in the presence of all of these. That's just a lot of birds, a lot of
I'd
big.
be fine. I just don't think I could handle the noise at night.
Right, and then the
Yeah.
mating, because the mating does not sound like, I don't know, like I guess
Pleasurable.
the animal kingdom is all full of this, where you think romance is not really a part of it, right? Like it just sounds like an argument that ends badly every time. But yeah, I can't imagine. I just can't. Like just so many birds, and then I guess they all have babies, and then those babies grow up and they get to a certain size, they make a bunch of noise. So like 50 are like the average amount of birds that they have, but once everything hatches, there's probably a whole bunch more.
So this
Yeah,
is not just new to this year. They've had this problem for eons.
this is the largest number of birds that have come back. I think that's why it's making the news.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's like 50 resident birds, and they've all laid eggs in their nests. So we're about to have like an explosion. And then next year, any survivors will just come back to do the same thing again. So whoop dee.
Right. They'll be at like 60 next year.
Right, yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Well, my first one is it shouldn't be a surprise to you. It's from BBC News, and it's Armed police called to night with sword.
Like a
Yep.
KNIGHT.
Yep.
We're talking like a Renaissance fair
Yep.
kind of dude. Okay. Okay.
So,
We're
so like,
doing swords again, eh?
I love swords. Come on now. Anything with a sword in the title, I'm like all over.
You're like, of course. Of
Of
course we're doing
course.
swords. Okay.
So BBC, so this takes place in South Wales, and it was at 3:10 p.m. last Wednesday.
It's early.
And there was a report of a suspicious person with carrying a sword in a night uniform walking around the lake. So they took this very seriously, and they dispatched a full armed police crew,
Okay.
and they confronted this gentleman, and of course, guns up. Like,
This seems really overblown. Don't you think? Like right away, I'm like, why didn't they just ask him if he was like filming or something? Like they're just gonna show up with like a SWAT team and take this guy out. He could just be there like filming a TikTok video for all you know.
no, no, he was walking around the lake. So 3 members of the firearms unit were sent after a family saw Lennon Thompson walking at Hendred Lake in St. Mellons, Cardiff. Onlooker said he was confronted at gunpoint and looked a little shocked when he was told to put down the blade. He apologized for the lapse of judgment. Perhaps it was a little stupid of me to bring a sword from a distance. It does look realistic, but it was a fake sword, and he is a 20-year-old who loves Dungeons and Dragons. And he had bought a new costume, which was fairly heavy, so he wanted to walk around the lake several times to see if he could manage the weight of it, and he decided to carry his plastic sword with him.
I see. Yes, somebody should have just asked him about this instead of calling for like reserves.
Right?
Like wasting everyone's time. This poor D&D dude. He's trying to get his nerd on. I mean, really.
So yeah, they were called 310 on Wednesday by a member of the public. They were deployed to the scene where they were located a young man who was in a fancy dress carrying a toy sword. No criminal offensive.
Fancy dress.
A fancy dress. Yeah, he looks like something out of like, like those kids' night movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No criminal offenses were committed, and the man was given suitable advice.
Hey, D&D is like a dice game. I didn't think you dressed up for D&D.
I think there's like the real life. What are they called?
It's LARPing.
LARPing, yes.
Okay.
Isn't
But
there
that's not.
D&D LARPing?
I don't think D&D and LARPing are the same things.
Can you not combine them?
I have no idea. I have played D&D. I have not LARPed.
So
I don't know if that's the right word for past tense LARPing.
So
I have not yet engaged in LARPing.
He was walking around the beautiful spot. So Meg James, 31, was walking around the beautiful spot with his wife Heather and his son Theo, who was 3. His quote was, "The whole thing was quite surreal. He looked something out of an action video game like Assassin's Creed."
Cool.
Mm-hmm. We saw this guy walking around in a knight's outfit and carrying a sword. We thought it was a bit weird, but thought he must be an actor or something and didn't think much more of it.
Right. This is where I would go with that too. I definitely wouldn't call like 911 or whatever version they have in Wales. I would be like, hey, I guess this guy is like filming a thing. He must be just like chilling and doing whatever. Like, I guess if he was like running after people and hitting them with his sword, that'd be a different story. But
like the one in Toronto? Yeah.
Yeah,
like the guy in Toronto. Yeah.
This poor kid was like, yeah, just kind of like, what's that, like catfished or whatever? Like, that poor guy. I feel kind of bad for him. He was just trying to get his nerdiness on.
He said he was going to move on, but about 5 minutes later, the armed police arrived and said that they had reports about a suspicious-looking person. He said, "I told them I saw them, and that I saw him doing laps around the lake, and he'll be coming around shortly." So they
just get out of the chairs. Just some folding chairs from the back of the like SUV that they drove up in. Just move some guns and stuff out of the way, get the chairs out, pull them up, sit down, have a tea. Dear
so
God.
They ordered him to put the sword down, and they confronted him. They had a chat with them for several minutes, and apparently the guy told him he was trying on a new outfit and he was walking around the lake to get used to the weight. The armed police were good as gold and even had a picture with him afterwards before letting him go on his way. And I have the picture.
Good. I'm glad they didn't just come in and shoot him, because that would have been the really sad story.
Funny you could say that. So he was quoted in this article too, and he said, however, the rest of my outfit was just me simply practicing for a hobby of mine. Life is a lot more fun when you don't care how weird you are. Though I did joke with some passerbyers who saw the incident and said that if I was American, I would have been shot on sight. We all had a good laugh.
They're not wrong. Especially, I mean, if we talk about like racial issues, I mean, I don't know what
He's
race.
white.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
he's
you know
white.
what? Then maybe not. He would have had a good go. I have no idea. But yeah, much more likely. I still can't believe like an entire armed contingency.
Well, there's only
Take him
not
down.
armed, but a crew. Like there's 3 of them.
It's messed up. Like one
Yeah.
guy just needs to be like, hey.
Can you see that? They're actually quite armed.
Yeah, it's like a SWAT team.
Yeah, they're quite armed.
They're kind of pudgy.
Well, no, it's because they have like helmets on and video cams and like they have the whole vest with the bullets across the front of their vest
Oh
and
Lord,
stuff, right?
those are
Yeah.
like bullet, whatever.
Well, the utility
Snatches.
vest, right? The utility vest that they put over their, they have all that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah. So there's my,
Did
it's
I ever
a
tell you this
softer
story?
one.
Ever tell you the story when I ran into a SWAT team?
No, I have one too though. Tell
Oh,
me.
cool. All right, so I'll tell you mine. You can tell me yours. I used to
Sure.
live in a real rough neighborhood of Oshawa, not so long in the distant past, unfortunately. But when I lived in this building, I had to go out the back way, and like the back of the building was where my car was parked. So I would go down the 4 flights of stairs and then out the back door, past the dumpster, and get to my car. And then one day I was taking my garbage out because it made perfect sense, passing the dumpster anyway. And I got to the door, opened it, and there was like an incredibly focused, fully armed SWAT team behind the dumpster, like all pointing like with hand motions to another pile of armed men who were trained with guns on the apartment across the parking lot from my car. So
Oh,
I'm
you came up behind them.
yeah, no, kind of like on the side, to the side of them. Like I was on my way to the dumpster and noticed that they were there. So I made eye contact with one of the guys, and he was like, "Go ahead." So I was like, "This is, well, the man with the gun said I should throw my garbage in this dumpster, so I'm gonna do that." So I had to walk up to them. There was like 4 guys crouched behind the dumpster, and then they were like hand motioning, like doing sign whatever. I don't even know what they do to communicate with each other, but apparently they have a language and they're busy doing that. To the other guys across the way, and they were like standing kind of by my car, like 2 cars over, with their guns. Like I don't even know what they were, but they weren't like handguns. They were like big army guns trained on this guy's balcony, like across the way. So I throw my stuff in the dumpster and just keep walking, get in my car, and drive away, and leave all the SWAT guys standing there. Like I couldn't believe that had happened to me. It was insane. Nothing happened. They were all just standing there waiting for, I don't know, like this mark or whatever to like head out onto the balcony so they could shoot him dead. I have no idea. I couldn't even find a story about it later. But I
Oh,
just
really?
remember like making eye contact with that weird dude behind the dumpster and being like, what should I do? What do you want me to do now? I'm clearly in the middle of some firefight that I was unaware was going on. Like, I need
Well, they
to.
weren't expecting him, or they wouldn't have let you continue walking.
Yeah, or like they would have put a guy by the door maybe and like said, just don't come out or whatever. I don't know. It was very weird.
That
Yeah.
is weird.
Yeah.
I have one too. So where I used to live,
Yep.
for this house. Across the street, I also used to live in that new community. It's older now, but when it was first built, we lived in that community, and the twins were, gosh, maybe 1, or maybe they weren't even born. I can't remember. I may have been pregnant with them. We had Connor for sure. We had friends over, but nobody had any fences in the backyards, right? So if you were in your backyard, you could just see everyone in their backyard having a barbecue. And it was a beautiful day. So everybody was out with their children. The dogs were out. Like everybody, it was a sea of people in these unfenced backyards.
Okay.
And all of a sudden we see like at the end. So I was like maybe, I don't know, probably about 7 houses down from Dixon. And we see this like 6 or 7 fully outfit SWAT guys, and you can just see the sea of people grabbing their children and running into the house as a domino effect down to us.
Oh,
Right?
oh my God.
right? And so they ran into our backyards and they were using our houses as shelters. We were like all grabbing our children and our dogs, running in our backyards. There's like hamburgers like totally burning. No one's
Oh my
going in.
God.
Yeah, we found it in the news like the next day. Apparently, they thought that the son of one of our neighbors was in his house, and he
Oh.
was wanted, so they were after him.
Oh, I see.
So,
I see. So
yeah.
he was like he was like armed and dangerous, and they sent these guys to
He
go.
wasn't there. They sent him there, but he wasn't there. But they did definitely, clear out that house. The wave of people just took off.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Just bought the house. Like we had just bought the house like months earlier, and we're having our friends over for a barbecue. They're like, "Where the hell did you move to?" Like, I swear to God, this is a good part of town. I swear.
We have made a mistake. We have made a mistake. Oh, yeah. Were they at least good looking?
Thankfully, they were a bit far away from me. I can't even imagine being like the next door neighbors when they ran around the corner, right? You'd be like, what the hell? I think they were expecting fences or something. I don't know what they're expecting, but we definitely, the sea of people running in the house gave away that they were there. Because everyone just fled.
Yeah, right? Not really much of a sneak up situation the whole time.
Oh no, they had their guns out. Like they look like machine guns. Everyone's like,
yeah,
what
right?
the hell? Yeah.
They're quite disconcerting to see. Like It's not like, I don't know why I think handguns are less scary, but I feel like at least you have to rechamber it or whatever to like fire it again, right? This thing looked like it was an automatic weapon. Like you just pull the trigger and just kill like dozens of people. Like
yeah. Yeah. Scary. Go ahead.
Okay. My next story, we're going to talk about how I've got two stories about social distancing. Both of them are from different places, and they're very funny. So at least I think they're funny. So in South Carolina, they've started opening up restaurants for like dining in, which we could discuss on whether or not that's a good idea, but we're just not going to go there. But anyway, these people who own this place were trying to think of ways that they could fill the seats without using like caution tape and making it look, abandoned or creepy. And they decided that what they were going to do instead of using caution tape is fill the seats with blow-up dolls. So they went online, Amazon.com, and bought 5 men and 5 women, dressed them up in their own clothes, and then put them in the booths around the restaurant to keep the 6-foot distance that we're all supposed to keep from each other. So, and this is again from the UPI site, and there is a little an interview clip, which I'm finding are like the most endearing little stories because they interview the people that are in the restaurant, and they're like, it's a little bit creepy, it's a little bit. And then the one man, he was like such a cute elderly gentleman. He's like, the lady over there thinks I'm fetching, like she won't stop looking at me, and her like dead, like glassy. Oh my God, so terrifying. If I was in that restaurant, I swear to you, it would be worse seeing blown up dolls like posed around like they were eating with each other. Anyway, so that's been in place since they opened, I guess, on the 14th. So like 3 days ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
there's some restaurants doing it as well in Toronto, but they're actually more conservative than that. They're actually using mannequins and dressing them up. There's one, I don't know the restaurant.
Conservative.
More conservative.
I just thought about what you meant there. Yes, you're right. You're right. Because they are the dolls that you're thinking about. They are.
Oh, I know they are. Blow up usually means that way. Blow up dolls have usually one purpose.
Yes. Yeah. They're there to keep you company.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
This particular restaurant in Toronto is more of an old-fashioned, like an older school kind of one. So they've dressed up all the mannequins in old 1940s and 1950s outfits to give it a little bit more of an older atmosphere. Yeah, it's cool. It's definitely a great idea. I'm not sure about blow-up dolls, but the concept's there.
I mean, yes.
Kudos to the concept.
It is a strange visual, for sure.
Do you have a picture of it?
There is one. I can send you these links later, and we can put them.
We'll put them on social media.
Yeah, they're good. It's a whole like interview that they did. I guess the woman went down, like the reporter went down to interview people who were like at the restaurant to see how they felt about it. It's pretty cute. And the woman was telling the story about how she was trying to come up with an idea, like instead of making it seem like a bad thing, they were trying to like liven it up and make it sweet and cute and stuff. And that's why they each took one home and dressed it themselves and then brought them back. So like the employees actually dressed them in their own clothes and then brought them back in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is, the lady was like, yeah, I had them at my house for a little bit before we opened, and they scared my family.
And so why would they not think they scared the customers?
The customers actually seemed like they were pretty chill with it. Like I definitely wouldn't be. Like it would terrify, because I've seen enough horror movies involving mannequins or whatever that just sets off all the creepy horror vibes for me. Like the eyes are like dead and staring. Like that's not. I don't know. I just don't find the company of plastic people as appealing as like real ones.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that a thumbs down for an idea.
It's pretty creepy, and they don't look right. Like the man's like head. I don't know. You'll see what it looks like. It looks like they've all been broken in some way. Like they're not quite inflated right. One head's like sort of off to the side and laying on the shoulder, and like the arm is kind of like weirdly on the table, and it's like they clearly have folded somewhere. It's like. Ugh.
Oh no.
Yeah, they've tried to like position them with like forks and stuff in their hands. You'll see, it's messed up.
At least if we use mannequins that we're used to in like, what is it? Like big shop companies that have like the clothes and stuff, and we're used to them. So like it's socially acceptable to put mannequins, but blow up dolls are not socially acceptable. So even on that alone, you just have to know that it's awkward, right?
I mean, I'm sure they cost less, right?
Oh, I'd imagine they cost a significant amount less.
Yeah. I think they're probably very affordable options. Oh, God.
Well, I'm staying on the legal aspect of it like I usually do. And my next one is from CTV News, and it's in Sudbury. And the title is Sudbury Thief Tries to Break into Unmarked Police Car with Policemen Sitting Inside.
I mean, you should check for that first.
Right?
But then again, there's that whole thing with the criminals aren't really the smartest people to start off with, so you can't be too surprised when they botch it.
Right. So I guess the Sudbury police have this new analytical program. It sounds really cool, where they can actually hone in on where the crimes are happening. So they found that there was some sort of complaint about vehicles getting broken into, and they used this analytical program, and they went to this area, and they sat there. They sat in their car and just left it in the dark and just waited. And sure enough, this 24-year-old man, tried to break into their car while they were sitting in it.
So it was a trap. Was it one cop alone?
It doesn't say how many cops. It said 2 officers spotted the man, parked their unmarked police cars near and waited, said the police on Friday. The man was arrested after he tried to enter the unmarked cruiser with one of the officers inside.
Right, so there's one in each car. So I imagine that these people are like in hoodies, and they're like wearing sunglasses, and they've like.
There's somebody in the car.
Well, yeah, they've like slunk down in the seat to make it look like it's empty, and they're like just waiting there, like for this guy to open up the door, and then they could be like, aha! Like I'm sure that they were not just sitting there like on their phone lit up, you know what I mean, like checking Twitter or whatever. They're probably like hiding properly.
Probably.
Yeah, like
the 25-year-old man was charged with several offenses, including 2 counts each of theft under $5,000 and possession of property obtained by a crime. He also faces a drug charge after police found methamphetamines and fentanyl on him during the search.
Oh, good.
Yeah, he's not exactly a great person. So if you have experienced a theft from a motor vehicle or break-in, it's really cool what they've done. So they've created a website. So if you have anything to report, it goes directly into this website, and then it becomes part of the analytical project that they have.
Neat.
Yeah. So the officer saw the man make hand-to-hand drug for money transaction with individuals in the laneway, forming reasonable grounds for his arrest. And the 30-year-old man was arrested and searched and revealed he was carrying methamphetamine pills, fentanyl, and cash, and now also faces 2 trafficking charges.
So before he stole the car, he was selling drugs in like a visible way, like just like.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's a smart person.
Yeah. So I guess he just needed to make his deal and grab a car and jet.
So I guess criminals out there, if you happen to be listening to this podcast for whatever reason, just don't set up shop in one neighborhood.
Yeah.
Just
especially in Sudbury. Keep going in Sudbury. Don't move around.
Pick some different places to deal and steal.
Oh, that's awful. I'm giving advice to criminals now.
Yeah. I think that's what these are for, right? Like all of these like crime-centric kind of podcasts are out there just to inform criminals on how to be better at their jobs.
Did I ever tell you the one I remember as a kid? I grew up in Bracebridge, as you know, and so we have a LCBO in Bracebridge. And I remember my parents just killing themselves laughing when somebody called. And I said, "What's so funny?" And they said, "Oh, you know, the brother of so-and-so, so-and-so." And I'm like, kinda. And he said, "Yeah, he just tried to rob the liquor store when it was closed. And so they went and rushed into the liquor store knowing it had been broken into, but he hid in the ceiling. But it was that really crappy ceiling with the dojo with that like really thin cardboard shit." Yeah. And they just stood there and they waited, and then eventually the whole ceiling came down and they arrested him.
Awesome. So beautiful. I used to have a bedroom in a basement that I lived in, and it had that drop ceiling, and I noticed that my light fixture was like filled with bugs, and I was like, oh, gross, I should just like get up there and fix it. So I put a chair, got up there, lifted it up. Biggest mistake of my freaking life. The entire thing was filled with bugs. Like, we're talking every single panel that I moved, just like cascaded bugs onto the carpet.
Oh,
it was so bad. I don't know how many generations had died up there. It was so awful. I was just like, nope, okay, I guess I'm living with these things. Put the panels back and call it a day. Like, it was, I love cleanliness. Like, yeah, like I love to clean stuff and be like hygienic, but I had to live with the knowledge that there was like 7 pounds of bugs in my ceiling. It's gross, man. Those drop ceilings are great for basements, but also just like a habitat. Like, just be aware. Things are living in there.
That's awful.
All right. So my final story is again about social distancing and stuff. And this is from South Korea, where they have a baseball season, which is super cool because the rest of the world does not. And so everybody is watching Korean baseball, and nobody knows any of the players or any of their stats or anything because they've never been on national TV and they've never been broadcasted before.
So, wait, people are going to the baseball game?
No, they're watching from home, but because there's no sports happening live anywhere else, this is all the world has to watch because we're all in lockdown. So suddenly South Korean baseball is like the super coolest thing in the whole world. Anyways, even there in South Korea, where they have their stuff basically sorted, like they still have some new cases, but there's no community spread anymore. So they've pretty much got stuff like on lockdown with all of their testing and tracing and stuff. Like they really kind of have this thing licked. They've still maintained that no fans can come to the stadium because they can't maintain proper social distancing. And so what they did instead was they asked all of their tickets holders and fans to submit pictures of themselves so that they could make life-size cutouts of them and put that in the stands instead.
Oh my gosh, you and your cutouts.
Yeah. So they're human life-size cutouts of people, their pets, and like their loved ones all in the stands.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So if you tune in to Korean baseball, I'm not sure when or where it like shows or airs. I think, well, MLB is doing in ESPN, so I guess those are places you can watch it. You can check out these life-size cardboard cutouts of people chilling in the stands while people play the game. So
we'll check that out. That's cool.
Yeah,
I'll be happy to hear that.
Yeah, there is baseball. It's just with people whose names you cannot pronounce and with stats that you do not know.
Yeah, the MLB guys said that they're not taking the pay cut and playing.
Right.
So we're not gonna have any baseball here. So I'll tell them to tune into that. That's awesome.
Oh, and baseball there is a little different.
Yeah.
Nobody spits. There's like different kind of rules. Like people bow to each other at odd times. Like I've heard that like fans are like international fans are not understanding some of the customs that they do, which just makes it more interesting in my opinion.
I would think so too.
You know, like get your international appreciation on. Like at least these people are playing for you to watch. But I think they're probably thrilled to be like so popular for once, like outside of Korea.
That's awesome. I'm not sure if you can hear, but my dog's snoring. So if you hear snoring in the background, it's not me. I'm not bored.
Okay, good. It'd be really hard for you to snore and speak at the same time, I think.
Can you hear her? She's snoring so loud.
This is
what happens when you take your dog for a 7K walk.
Just dies when it gets home.
Yeah, she's super cute. All right, so my last one again is law related, and it's from NBC29.com, May 16th. So Louisiana Police Department makes arrest in quote unquote Melon Head convenience store robbery.
Okay. So what?
Yeah, exactly what I said. So these two guys in the town of Louisiana Police Department, town of Louisiana, I think they say that Louisa. So they basically took watermelons, these two guys, and they hollowed them out and put them on their heads and made holes for their eyes. I kid you not.
This is the best thing I've ever heard. Oh my goodness, yeah, it is exactly what you would think.
It's exactly what you would think.
They look like aliens.
They do. I will put the picture on social media. So the PD went to Facebook on Saturday to ask for public's assistance in locating two suspects wanted in connection with the larceny at the Sheetz convenience store on May 6th. They were caught in the store security cameras wearing hollowed out watermelons with eye holes as masks.
Which terrified everyone watching.
The suspects arrived at the store just after 11:30 in a lifted black Toyota Tacoma pickup truck. They didn't report anything else, what they stole, how much they stole, if they escaped or anything.
None of that is important.
No, it was just you have to, they're just weird in how they wrote this. So the arrest of the convenience store robbery with a fruit-flavored twist.
You could do this. We could go through what else you could use. I mean, if you don't have a watermelon, you could use a bucket. You could use a pumpkin. You could use a cantaloupe, I guess, if you had a small enough head. I really don't understand why this was their first choice of object. Like, it's so thick and bulky and juicy. Like, you can't run with that on your head. Like, think about what that would do. It's like slamming your ears against the side of your head. Like, and it would fall off if you shook your head too hard. Oh my God, it's just not aerodynamic or like at all like anything you'd want to stick on your head. Can you imagine like this sticky? Oh my God.
Oh yeah, your face, your hair, everything.
Oh my God, you'd just be snacking while you're stealing, like just nom on the inside, just like, oh, I got hungry or I'm thirsty. I'm just gonna start licking the inside of my mask. That's messed up. Do you think they were sitting there on the porch, like hollowing these out, like coming up their whole thing? The guy's like, Joe, I've got some stockings inside the house. I got a toque and like a face mask. We could just go with those. No, dude. Nobody's ever done this with watermelons. We gotta like go down in history. I have to get YouTube famous.
I have to laugh because because there's more than one company that reported on this. The other one said that these two seedy people robbed it. Yeah.
They're gonna come up with all kinds.
Oh, all kinds, yeah. Like, these seedy characters. So
you know what though? They managed it. Like it worked. They don't.
Yeah, they got away.
Yeah. So clearly, whatever they did, maybe I just can't see how you could get your head inside a watermelon, and then have it stay on your head while you did like activities.
Well, if you look at the bottom guy, it looks like they cut the end off. Where is it? See the bottom guy? So they cut like a third of the watermelon off. It must have been huge watermelons.
Yeah, right? They got a whole head in there.
He looks like an alien. The other guy looks like an alien.
Yeah, they really look, they are, let's be fair, they are not normal Earthlings.
It doesn't say they were armed.
They didn't need to be. Everybody just gave them what they wanted. They show up with melons on their heads. Like, I would, fair enough. Here, just take it and go. I don't know why you're wearing fruit on your head. I don't need to know why.
Oh, there's an update here. It says they have made an arrest. They did make an arrest. Yeah.
They found discarded watermelons outside the door.
Canada Police Department said it's made an arrest in the convenience store robbery with a fruit-flavored twist.
Oh, gosh.
There you go. Yep. Fun. Right. So Facebook worked.
Oh, I don't know what to say about that.
I love those ones.
Those
are my favorite.
Out of all the things you could have chosen to use
watermelon?
To disguise your person, like you just... Even like a strip of packing tape can do wonders.
Just put on a coronavirus mask, right?
Yeah.
Right? You don't even need much anymore.
That's true. You just don't wear a mask and cough a bunch. Yeah.
Oh, they've been getting arrested for that too. That's not even funny.
Oh, I know. Those people are awful. Like that lady who licked the ice cream again. Did you see that story? She like went to a Walmart and licked the ice cream, and then they charged her with like attempted murder at this point, because the first time it happened, like last year or whatever, there was not this like public health emergency, and they charged that person with like mischief.
Mischief?
Yeah, they like gave them some like penalty. I don't remember what it was, but they didn't get jail. And then this person who did it recently went to prison.
Wow.
Because it's not funny anymore.
No, it's not
funny at
anymore.
all. So yeah.
So.
Anyway, that's a sad situation. We just won't go there. Let's talk about the MLB and the Ghetto people and the Melonhead guys, and we just stick with the Renaissance man taking a jog around a pond.
And cute baby pictures of dogs. Like
yes.
I posted last week.
Perfect. Yeah, that's right. After we go through all these, the mildly depressing, and then come up with, we need some air. Now we're going to go look at flowers and cute dogs.
Yep, I did. I posted the picture of the cute dog last week so everybody could leave on a nice note. So, well, that's it for me. Thank you very much. It was fun. Thank you for your articles. Yeah. So until next week.
Sounds good.
Okay. Bye.
See ya.
This is our outro.
Done.